And yes, it may be November, but we're talking tennis. A teenager from Duluth founded an organization with the hopes of improving the tennis community across the city. Tonight, Fox 21's Steph M brings you part one of this special series.
For a city that prides itself on outdoor activities, the options to play tennis in Duluth are extremely limited.
There's nothing between Cloquet and West Duluth, which is, 20 miles? Wheeler is in horrible shape.
16-year-old Michael Chelseth, a junior at Duluth East High School, recognized a problem.
There's really a need for courts in Lakeside, and there are a lot of people that play tennis that live in Lakeside.
And chose to take action.
I was just thinking about my everyday journey to Longview during the summer. It was a ways away, and sometimes, the courts would be full because they're really nice courts and there's only 6 of them. I went to the Parks and Rec committee and I asked them about a few locations that I thought in Lakeside could work for tennis courts, but they told me that there was already a plan that existed. The plan had passed back in 2012 for Washington Square that included a tennis court, and when I came in, there was no one working on it. So I thought, I'd take up this project.
As it turns out, Michael isn't the first person to try and initiate change.
I used to coach at Denfeld for 6 years. I was the one trying to get the courts fixed.
From 2003 to 2007, Eve Graves worked to improve the tennis community in Duluth.
I was coaching at Wheeler, and we had a ditch, and we didn't have a fence, and we had cracks, and we had foliage growing through and all this stuff. And for 4 years, I tried to at least get a fence.
After 4 years and not much to show for her efforts, Eve gave up until 6 years later when she ran into Michael at a city council meeting.
I was like, oh my gosh, he's doing exactly what I was trying to do.
As expected, she had plenty of advice to lend.
I said, it'd be great if you did the whole city instead of just one area.
So Michael decided to widen his original plan from just building one tennis court in Lakeside to renovating and maintaining all the rundown courts throughout the city.
With Duluth Tennis, we're trying to get everyone involved, showing the city that, there is support for this out there, and we have a lot of courts around, but they're not in good shape at all.
The exception being the 6 courts at Longview, where the boys and girls tennis teams at East play their matches.
Longview's courts are the only courts in the city up to tournament standards.
But Longview may actually be what is stealing the attention from all other courts in Duluth.
Duluth Friends of Tennis is an organization that just tries to upkeep Longview's courts. They get money from all their memberships.
When you go to USTA, United States Tennis Association, they think that Longview Friends of Tennis is it. And so they think, okay, we're fine, Duluth has courts. They don't really look at everything else.
And the Duluth Tennis Organization is working to raise awareness for all the courts that have been neglected.
As Duluth Tennis, we're focused on all the other courts that don't have anyone paying special attention to them right now. So all these other public courts are out there, but the city hasn't put any money towards them because there's no one encouraging them to do anything right now.
But Eve is hopeful that Michael's battle will end with more success than hers.
They'll talk to Michael now, and they'll see how bad it is. I mean, the whole city.
There is a large tennis community out in Duluth, but they just need to get out and be active right now.
As the leader of the Duluth Tennis Organization, Michael believes that now is the time to break ground with this campaign.
Tomorrow night, this Fox 21 special report continues as Steph M takes us to tennis courts across Duluth to explore just how bad the conditions truly are. Last night, we introduced you to the teenager who found the Duluth Tennis Organization. Tonight, a former tennis coach from Denfeld High School relives her experiences fighting for tennis in Duluth. Steph M has part 2 of this Fox 21 special series, Talking Tennis.
As Michael embarked on his quest to improve tennis facilities across Duluth, Eve Graves couldn't help but reminisce on her parallel campaign that began nearly 12 years ago.
The school district, it's kind of about hockey, and it's not really about tennis. So it's very frustrating that they won't put money into it because those are some of the smartest kids.
In 2003, while coaching tennis at Denfeld High School, Eve asked the city to make some fundamental yet necessary changes. Little did she know that would be the beginning of a 4-year battle.
We only had 3 fences, which is unheard of. I mean, you're hitting balls out all the time. So I asked for a fence, I asked for the ditch to be removed. I asked for the cracks to be filled, the foliage cut, and the lines repainted. We would lose balls all the time in the foliage. It actually was really dangerous with those ditches because people would fall in them. It got so bad, we actually wrote to Oprah Winfrey and asked her if she would buy us courts.
Eventually, the city did institute some changes.
They fixed it. I'll say fixed it.
But none of them proved to be beneficial.
They gave us half a fence. I have absolutely no idea what their logic was. It comes up to like here. And then they got rid of the ditches, put no drainage in. After the rain, there's 2 inches of water. You can't play. They put sticky tar on instead of the tar they're supposed to use, so the kids' shoes were sticking.
And the list goes on. Now, fast forward 12 years where Michael unknowingly picked up where Eve left off.
At Wheeler, the surface slopes towards the middle, and there's no way for water to run off, so all the water sits in the middle, surface becomes moldy, and there are very large cracks with lots of plantation and weeds growing out of them.
It looks like a jungle in there. You can't see half the lines. I painted the lines with my team at Wheeler when we did it. The lines at Woodland are crooked. They go like this. The 2 lovely ones at Harrison, which have dead rats and glass on them a lot of times. And the cost. You're losing balls in the trees. I don't even know how that happened.
Not to mention the safety concerns.
It's really dangerous, like these cracks and these holes and puddles form everywhere on these courts when they're wet. And especially with this surface, like the surface we're on right now, it's more of like a parking lot, and it's not really meant for tennis. You usually have this layer, and then you put another layer on top to kind of finish it up so that it's nice and smooth and it's not as rough.
But maybe it's the laziness that frustrate Michael and Eve the most, being that the facilities exist, they're just not maintained.
We have a lot of courts around, but they're not in good shape at all.
Even Little Aiken. Little Aiken has blue, perfect resurfaced courts there. So it's just interesting how these little towns have really good courts and really good tennis programs, and this nice big town can't even give us any. Like nothing. They haven't touched these courts in at least 12 years.
With Eve's support and guidance, Michael hopes that his plan going forward can put an end to that 12-year drought. In Duluth, Steph M, KQDS Fox 21.
Tune in tomorrow night at 9 for the final part of this Fox 21 special series, where we'll see the plan that has been constructed to build a new tennis court right here in Duluth.
Tonight, we're bringing you the final part of our special series, Talking Tennis. Fox 21's Steph M has more on plans that are already in motion to build a new court here in Duluth.
In founding the Duluth Tennis Organization, Michael's main priority is bringing public attention to the poor conditions of the tennis courts across Duluth.
We're just kind of trying to show the city that we need to do something here.
And his logic is simple.
If we make courts, we should keep them up.
He already has a lot of support.
We have close to 300 signatures on a petition that we've been doing to ask the city to dedicate funds to building and maintaining courts throughout Duluth.
But young Michael has wide eyes and is hungry for considerable upgrades.
I'd really like to see these courts maybe get resurfaced, get some new fences, get some new nets hopefully. Small things to start, and then maybe larger things like resurfacing.
While Eve would like to see even greater enhancements.
What I really want to see is 8 courts with lights. They need that somewhere. Wheeler is the perfect place because there are not a lot of houses there. There's lights in a couple other places, but they don't work. One time we drove a car up to try to light it. We were trying everything to light these courts. They could even make money on the lights. You put a quarter in and put the lights on for however long.
And she is well aware of the long winters here in the Northland.
Duluth also could use some indoor courts. That would be one really nice thing. The model that Virginia has is the model that I think Duluth should look at because they have really good courts up there. They have the outdoor courts, they have the indoor courts.
Focusing on the here and now, a plan currently exists to construct a brand new court in Washington Square, which, according to Michael, is the perfect location.
What's really cool about it already is it's really flat. There are a few trees where the tennis court would be built actually, but the plan includes replacing those trees and adding a few more trees in addition to that. What is also really cool is there aren't any tennis courts really around in Lakeside right now, and This would be a really good location. They planned it out. There's a DTA bus stop right there. The lake walk's right below.
With an estimated cost around $75,000, Michael believes the final product will be worth the price.
There are a lot of kids that are involved. There's plenty of kids that once they grow up, they're going to want these facilities to play tennis.
Himself included, as he would love to reap the benefits of all his hard work.
Well, I'd like to see a court built here, well, you know, before I move out. Really, realistically, I'd like it within the next 5 years or so. If that could happen, it would be really amazing.
Eve knows that the numbers are what's most important for change to occur.
If he can get the 1,000 people in the area that play tennis, that's going to show them there are people here that want this. There are people here that play and use these courts all the time.
If we could get a court here, you know, it might be reason for me to believe in my city.
A city that Michael is asking to take action and work together to save tennis in Duluth. In Duluth, Steph M, KQDS, Fox 21.